Good evening, and welcome to Anchor TV. I'm Gordon Flowers, shot from the hub in beautiful downtown Cartersville, with your host, Mr. Bobby Lawrence. Hello, Bobby.
How's it going, Gordon?
I'm glad you asked. It's going really well. We have a guest today,
Rebecca Hampton.
Rebecca Hampton.
Yep.
Glad she's here.
She's a cowgirl.
Yep.
And I figured, what better way to dress than to look like a well-dressed cowboy? What all the well-dressed cowboys dress like are cow people, because we got to keep it PC. This is how the well-dressed cow people. And look, here, grab my foot. Come with that. I got boots, and they match my jacket.
Have elastic on them.
I have never seen a cowboy
really?
wear those kind of boots.
Really?
They're tonto.
Did I mess up?
Not exactly. But you're all right.
He just called. See, actually, you got that backwards. In this relationship, I'm like the Lone Ranger, and this Indian here is like Tonto. Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by cowboys.
Cow people.
Literally. So I'm so glad you're here today. When did you come to Christ?
Many, many years ago, I gave my life to Christ when I was about 19 years old.
19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
For once, we have a goody two-shoe on the show.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I already had 4 children by the time I was 19.
By the time you was 19? Wow. No wonder you got saved.
Yep.
What brought you what brought you to that point?
I guess I felt an awesome responsibility for my children. I knew I wanted life to be better for them than it had been for me. And I really felt responsible for them. And boy, the Holy Spirit of God just put a conviction on me that I couldn't walk away from. And I knew I was going to die and go to hell if I didn't get my life to Christ. I'd been in church. I knew the Bible. I knew the truth. I knew, if I didn't get saved, I would go to hell. So I just bowed my knee and asked God to save me.
Was you at home or in church? Oh, really?
I've been in church in years.
So you was born again at home.
Yep.
And how did you know that you knew that you were saved?
Oh, honey, it was like darkness turned to light. Oh, yeah. I was carrying an awful weight of sin around. Mm. And all I said was, God, save me. And it was just like these lights turned on.
Wow.
And I never, ever, well, not never, ever, because Satan always wants to make you doubt. But I knew that God had changed my life. And I wish I had stayed there, but at some point, I got steeped in legalism.
Oh.
It was terrible. I finally got to a point that I don't want what I got, and I sure don't want anybody else to have it. This is miserable. When everything you do, everything you think, and if you're having fun, it really is a sin.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't like this.
Yeah,
And,
sometimes we can get caught in a ditch one way or the other.
Yes.
Pendulum swings real broad.
Yes,
So
yeah.
You can be way over here in grace and mercy or way over here
in legalism.
I didn't understand grace. And Dr. Stanley spoon-fed me grace until I understood the grace of God. And then realized I couldn't do anything.
Dr. Charles
Jesus
Stanley?
already done it. Yeah, he was my pastor for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Sat at his feet, and he really, really, really spoon-fed me grace. And I could finally wrap my brain around the grace of God and that he loved me, and it wasn't anything that I could do or did do. It was just he loved me. And I love how he, people would tell you he's going to, God will whoop you, God will punish you. When you're beat up, he don't beat you up. I could see Jesus in my mind's eye when I was living in sin, just fuzzball, I'm telling you. And Jesus standing there with his arms open, and I would just cry. It just break my heart. I'm like, I don't understand how you can love me. But he did, and he loved me back to him. And I tell you, it was amazing. It was the best day of my life when I understood grace and quit trying to do. I just started being who I was. I understood that a grapevine don't work to bear grapes. It just bears grapes.
Well, then the Lord called you into ministry.
Yes, he did.
When did you hear that call?
Oh, my goodness. I guess about 30 years ago. I built a house on some property up in the North Georgia foothills of the North Georgia mountains. And it was like my dream house. I had 12.6 acres. I had my horse in my yard. That's what I always wanted my whole life. And me and my builder actually built my house. I know more about building than I ever wanted to know, but it was exciting to watch it come together. And I built that house, and God kept calling. He kept pulling at me. You know, as I'd work at the barn, the Holy Spirit would speak to me, you know, like he did Peter and Paul, lovest thou me? And I'd say, you know I love you. And say it again, lovest thou me? Yes, I love you. He'd say it again, and I'd start crying. No, I don't love you like I ought to. And he wanted me to give everything to him, and I kept. When you don't have anything, I think you try to hold on to stuff if you didn't have a lot. When you were coming up, you try to hold on to stuff. And Dr. Stanley taught me to let go. Don't try to hold on to it. And, you know, it's been the most wonderful experience when I finally said, okay, God, I said, you have everything, but you're not taking my house. This is my house. You're going to send me to Africa, and I want to be here. And I finally got to the point where I said, I don't care. I don't care about this house. I don't care about anything. All I want is your will. And, you know, it's the most wonderful song me and the children are practicing right now. When I lay my Isaac down, God don't want Isaac, he wants you.
Oh, yeah.
And that song just speaks volumes to me.
When you're telling me that, I'm always reminded every time I hear about Peter, do you love me? Mm-hmm. When I went to Israel there at the church of St. Peter, there's 3 huge rocks right outside that church that look like hearts. And this is where Jesus asked that question right around that area. They always say, well, it's close to here. They can't say this is definitely it. And right outside there's these huge, it wasn't planted there. They were originally there, but they look like heart shaped. There's 3 of them. And every time I hear Peter's story, it always reminds me of that. So that's really good. So what did you feel like he was calling you to do?
You know, it was neat. I actually moved up there and was working on building my house. Worked in Atlanta. I had my own dance production company. I did a lot of dance production things in the city, and I had dance programs at different art centers in town. And I would make money, and then I'd go up there on the weekend and take Friday and Monday off and work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then come back to town and make some more money trying to get my place built. And once I moved up there, I just started praying, God, what do you want to do here? You know, it's almost like I love the book, The Clan of the Cave Bear. It was almost like that's where God shut me up. And I think after salvation, there's a sanctification that comes along with that, where God sets you apart for His work.
Now is this in Jerusalem, Georgia?
In Jerusalem, Georgia.
Yeah, he surely blessed you now.
Yes.
In Jerusalem,
what's going on there. In Jerusalem, Georgia, yeah, right?
Oh my goodness. So once I got there, kids started coming, and I'm like, okay, God, what are you doing? And he said, I want a safe place for these kids to come where they can receive love and no condemnation. I said, I can do that. And had a horse, and the first girl, her mama called me crying, will you please help me with my daughter? I'll be glad to. What do you want me to do? She said, I don't know. So I said, well, tell her she'll come help me at the barn. I'll teach her how to ride. So she liked that idea. So when she got there, she was really closed down. She had a wall up a mile high. Gave her a horse, gave her a brush, told her to get to work, and I left her alone. I didn't ask her a bunch of questions. I didn't probe. And I think she realized that I wasn't gonna try to talk her into anything or pick at her or ask her any questions. And in time, she learned to trust me. So she'd come every week. She'd groom the horse, and I'd teach her how to ride. And then the day I saw her gallop the horse across the pasture, I knew that God had done something. Horses are probably the most wonderful tool that God uses. And I'm a certified equine therapist, and I use that. I didn't realize that was what I was doing, that it had a name for it, but I've done it for years.
Horse whisperer.
Yeah, horse
Is that right?
whisperer. Something like that.
Well, the first time you invited me to come speak, you told me something I never forgot. You said, Bobby, I put those girls on a horse, and they'll just tell you anything.
Yes, they will. They will. They
What's
will.
the name of the organization again?
Well, we have the first thing I started was the ranch, the Ranch of Hope and Healing.
Ranch of Hope and Healing. That's right.
And then 13 years ago, we started the Cowboy Church in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Had so many kids, I couldn't get them all in the truck to take them to church. So God said Cowboy Church. I said, okay, what's that? So I found two in Georgia. Yeah, I found two in Georgia and went and visited them. And it was amazing. I knew why I'd been created. I knew exactly. I'm like, okay, I got this. So we just built it a board at a time. And I realized I didn't have these kids long enough. They would give their life to Christ. We'd baptize them in the lake. They'd go back to public school and recognize them after a while. And I said, God, we need a school. We need a schoolhouse here so we can just pour into these kids. So we started the academy. This will be our 7th season. And we've got, I think, 16 or 18 kids. And we are so excited. Kindergarten through 12th grade.
Wow.
And just pour Jesus in them all day long.
And that's a blessing.
Oh, my goodness.
It started off one girl,
Yep.
one horse,
Yep.
and now you got an academy.
Got an academy.
That's man.
Got,
the Lord,
16
man.
horses.
You must have had a boatload of money.
Are you kidding me? Listen, I came from the Indian village. I didn't have any money. I don't know about money, but I know about God.
What did you do in the Indian village?
Well, that's where I lived.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little town, little city. It's like the other side of the tracks in Brookhaven. It was all dirt roads and Indian names and 4-room houses, and there was a creek and woods behind the house, and I spent a lot of time.
Did you wear that hat?
Wouldn't like it.
He speaks fluent Indian.
I couldn't afford a hat. Hats are expensive.
That's a bless. I mean, that's just amazing how
It is amazing.
it starts off.
Yeah.
And you didn't even. You're like, oh Lord, what am I going to do? And now all of a sudden, there's this huge. One thing about doing this is you get to hear how people start off with nothing.
Nothing.
And then all of a sudden, they just, some huge, God just, it's crazy, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's why I would go to Atlanta and work, and I would make money, and then I would come back and try to take care of the kids. I could make a mean chicken and dumplings with one chicken wing.
Hey, that sounds like my mom.
Yeah.
My mom can make chicken taste like shrimp.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn to,
Wait a
to
minute.
take care of all these kids.
I thought everything tasted like chicken.
No, my mom can make chicken taste like shrimp.
Yeah, there'd be 20 kids get off the school bus sometimes and come down the driveway.
All right.
I was going to
Looking
say,
for their
how in the world did you
safeguards.
eat?
The churches would bring us food. The older kids now tell this group of kids, y'all got it good. All we had was hot dog. They had every kind of hot dog you could ever imagine. They said we got so tired of them, but it was all right. We'd make beanie weenies out of them, or we just have every different kind. But there was always something to eat. They always came hungry. And I remember the time I told God, I was sitting on the swing, and I'm like, I do this every Monday. Nobody gets saved. What am I doing? And I think God said, okay, I'll show you. I think 7 kids gave their life to Christ that month. And
Wow.
baptized them in the lake behind the ranch.
Come through.
Yeah, yeah. And the first little one looked up at me and said, Mr. Rebecca, I want you to baptize me. I'm like, what a blessing. I'm like, my pastor, can I do that?
Can I do that?
Sure can.
So tell us, how many kids you think's come through there over the years, you reckon?
Oh my goodness. We probably had 200 people give their life to Christ.
Wow.
That have come through the church. And oh my goodness, hundreds of kids. I've raised kids, and the neatest thing about the academy now, I have 2nd generation Cowboy kids.
Yeah.
I raised their daddy. I remember he showed up at the gate, long hair, messed up. He said he had gone to the store to get some beer, and he took it back to his buddies, and he saw that Cowboy Church sign, and he said he came back and came in and was standing at the fence. I said, come on in, son. So he came in and sat down and gave his life to Christ that day.
Wow.
So what gave you the idea of having church on Saturday in the barn?
Do you know, I didn't have a clue. I am like, unless they were just not Sunday morning people. The only way the kids got to go to school on Sunday morning is if I had them with me Saturday night and could get them up. Because it's kind of an area where they stay up all night and sleep all day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So if they couldn't get themselves up, I
Yeah.
couldn't blow the horn loud enough.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
stay there. We've had campouts and pajama parties and just all kind of things on Saturday night. So we could get up and go to church on Sunday morning. Because we have church on Saturday, then we can minister at different churches. And I'm telling you, these kids, I don't coach them either. They want to give their testimony. They want to tell you what God's done for them, how he's changed their life, changed their family, and sing with the anointing of God on them. It's amazing.
You remember when we went there and you guys were all up there singing and doing
Interpretive dance.
interpretive dance? Yeah, exactly. And you guys, it's like, because I've never been there before till then. And even though my family kind of grew up on a farm, I was never on the farm. You know, this was far removed from me. So when I saw all the girls riding up on horseback,
Yep.
and the little one,
Yes.
what's her name?
Lily.
Lily. On the little,
yes.
what is that, a pony?
No, it's a miniature horse.
A miniature horse. Okay, see, that's how much I know.
And that's okay.
On the pony. No, it's a miniature horse, dummy. But I was just like, that's awesome. And the girls were so, I mean, the Lord's doing some major things with that. And they were so, they were ecstatic to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't shy.
Oh, no.
You know, they were up there doing all their stuff.
Well, they say Miss Rebecca hands you the microphone. You just stand there. You got to say something.
Yeah. It was amazing.
I wanted to pray for Lily's horse because I don't think she got off of it till.
No.
Oh,
Maybe-
listen, he wore him out. She's graduated to a taller horse, now to a taller pony.
He's
we do have
thinking-
miniature horses and we have ponies.
What's the difference?
The miniature horses have, you can tell their legs are little, where ponies are more stocky and have bigger hooves,
Okay.
bigger legs.
Well, Lily's horse is going.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I think I'd get through that one.
Yeah,
I
she
wanna retire
graduated
at such an early age.
And now she's barrel racing. She
Wow.
was on a big horse the other day and threw the rope and catched the dummy twice. The big kids are out there trying to catch. She just gets up there and catches. She's pretty amazing. She's all around little
How old
cowgirl.
is she now?
5.
5 years old, and she's an expert horseman.
Yeah, since she was
Horsewoman.
3. Oh, she teaches the class when the little kids come in. I'll put her with the little kids and the ponies. Oh, she got the hoof up and the hoof pick, and she's telling them all about it, and oh, she loves it.
That's amazing.
She is
But
amazing.
but that's not all you do.
Oh no.
So you have another ministry,
Yes.
right? You want to tell us about that one?
Well, we have the ranch, of course,
Right.
and that's we have barrel lessons and roping lessons, and we go to the rodeos. We hand out water and cowboy Bibles, and then we have church at first, third, and fifth Saturdays of the month at 5 o'clock until the time changes. When the time changes, we go to 3, and we just have a great time back there in the barn behind the barn. In fact, people call me when the church is shut down because we're open, we're out.
Wow, yeah,
Are
absolutely.
y'all having church? I'm about to die. I said,
I've
"Yes,
been there
we
a
are."
couple of times,
Come
and
on.
it's a lot of fun.
It is fun.
I've always enjoyed it.
It is fun. And then we started this will be our 7th season for our academy at Double H Ranch. We started the academy, and I'm telling you, it was amazing to pour into these kids. They can quote chapters of scripture. We teach them scripture. We feed them. It's not just school. We teach them to brush their teeth, comb their hair. I keep clean clothes in case they need a clean shirt.
Man, we need to go stay with her.
That's right. I hang clothes out every day, washing and hanging out clothes. And they do chores. That's part of their, they don't pay anything to come to the academy. And we're struggling a little bit right now. And God spoke to me. I love how he speaks at 3 o'clock. He wakes me up. And I have been praying, God, what do we do? We're getting a little lean here. And he said, sponsor a child. And I said, sponsor a child. And he said, sponsor a child. So I talked with some people that I know And they said, yes, that you can do that, and that a lot of people do that. So we put together some neat little cards that have a beautiful picture of these children in their cowboy hats and their cowboy duds. Not just like yours. Like not exactly.
You'd make a canary jealous.
And then they have a little story in the back about them, telling why they need a sponsor. And
wow.
yeah, and then you can sign up to give a one-time gift. And I'm really excited to see how God's going to. I've had 2 churches to call me and ask me about sending them some cards. They said, we've got huge Sunday school classes that would probably sponsor a child.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how, I'm sponsoring a child in Africa. And there are kids in the United States that need a sponsor. So I'm really excited. I'm getting a lot of calls from people wanting to sponsor
I think,
a child.
I'm all for foreign missions, but a lot of times we're stumbling on our own to get there.
Exactly.
And and somehow in America, if we don't get our oxygen mask on, there won't be foreign missions.
That's right.
I mean, the church is in such a decline.
Wow.
90% of Americans, they say America is lost. Wow. And all the church statistics are saying that now. North American Mission Board saying that. That's drastic. And
it is drastic. And you know what? We kind of live in a bubble because I don't see that. These kids love God. They're excited about what they're doing. We tell people about Him. We try to.
That's a good bubble.
Win folks to Him. It's a great bubble.
It's a good bubble to be in.
So the Cowboy Church is happening.
Yeah.
And it's just been amazing to just watch God and these kids. They love church. They would just absolutely come apart if I said we weren't going to have church today.
Right.
So when we were ministering on Sundays and the churches shut down, we didn't have any to minister at. We got dressed, got on our horses, got our Bibles, and went out in the woods and had church online for the people that were watching. And we did start doing online services. We were few in number, so I said, well, let's just try to do that. So we did that, and I heard from people in Cape Town, South Africa, Norway, Ireland, Switzerland, Mexico, all over the United States, thanking us for sharing. I was amazed at all the different people that we touched in the different countries. So we weren't shut down. We just really opened us up.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, we just got a few minutes, and we got girls and little boys that watch that are hurting in all kinds of ways. I mean, from, some of the, and if there's something you could say to give them a word of hope, just feel free, look at the camera and talk directly to them. What do you think the Lord would say to them?
Oh, precious, precious children. I wish you were at Cowboy Church in Jerusalem. Mr. Rebecca would hug you and encourage you, let you know that, sometimes, and I tell my children that, sometimes you have to walk through a hard place, but God's going to use that hard place to make you who He wants you to be and what He wants you to be. And don't ever give up and don't ever lose hope. Every day is a new beginning. I don't care how bad you've been today. You just ask God to forgive you, and He erases that board, and you just start over tomorrow with a new day. So don't you ever give up. And if you ever get to the foothills of the North Georgia mountains, you come see us. We would love to meet you and minister to you.
That's great. Hey, we still got a couple more minutes. Hey,
and Gordon too.
So what do you think the future looks like for the Cowboy Church? What's your?
I heard somebody told me this, and I've not been able to find it, but is it Smith Wigglesworth? Do you remember?
Yeah.
He said that revival would start with the men with the big hats.
Really?
Yeah.
I forgot to bring one.
They said it was a quote. So I'm like, okay, who wears big hats? Cowboys.
Right.
I would love for God. I don't care where He starts it, but I'd love for Him to start.
Why not in Jerusalem?
Cowboy Church. Why
Right.
not?
I mean, think about it. The best place to start,
I know
right?
it. And right down below us is Goshen Valley. That had to be a God thing.
That had to be. Goshen Valley, are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right down the hill, down below us is Goshen Valley.
You know who wears a big hat?
Who?
Sam Bice.
Bice.
Sam Bice.
He does.
He does. He wears a big cowboy hat. Sam Bice. Okay. He's a pastor,
Yes.
and he lives in Rome. At
Armurchie.
Armurchie, where I graduated high
Georgia,
school.
that is.
After I got kicked out of 2 other high schools, I ended up at Armurchie.
You know, people can see us in Italy.
Armurchie, Georgia. And he's a pastor at Living Waters.
Living Waters. Yep.
All right, so there's your shout out. I told you,
Shout
I was
out,
gonna,
Sam.
that's for you, Sam. I'm just trying to bring everybody involved. Have you ever heard of One for Israel?
One for Israel.
Yes.
No, I hadn't.
One for Israel they're based in Israel, and they preach the gospel to all those guys out in Israel, in Israel, and they get a lot of flack, but they really share the gospel to all the people who need to hear it. You know what I mean? And so I just want to give a shout out to those guys. So One for Israel, who lives in Israel, not Israel, Georgia, Israel. So One for Israel.
One for Israel.
Well, let me ask you this. If somebody wanted to contact you or wanted to support your ministry or sponsor a child, how could they get in touch with you?
We're on Facebook. We're very active on Facebook. We've got 33,000 followers.
Under
on
the
our
Cowboy
Facebook.
Church. right?
Cowboy Church in Jerusalem.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have email addresses. I have come see us. It's like Grand Central Station. Yeah, the address is 9906 Henderson Mountain Road. And our mailing address is actually Fairmount, Georgia, but we're not there. We're up on the mountain. They just have to put you somewhere. So our post office is in Fairmount. But we're in between Fairmount and Jasper, the little community of Jerusalem.
And it's a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, you got to go see it. It's wonderful. God really moves there. I've always enjoyed it. And she always feeds you something is going on there. And boy, this was just great, wasn't it?
It was amazing and remarkable at the same time.
We're so glad you could be with us.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
a joy to be here. God bless you.
God bless you.
Hey, say good night, Gordon.
Wait, try to say it again.
Say good night, Gordon.
Good night, Gordon.
Worship Him and worship Him. Every day, every church. Even when you wake up, worship Him. When you wake up, worship Him. Even if you're not tired, just keep on praising. Oh, the Lord's been good to me. Oh, the Lord's been good to me. All the days, all the nights. Oh, the Lord's been good to me. Oh, the Lord's been good to me. Even though how I sing. Even if I'm an old person, He still will be good to me.
Jesus is the cure. My neighbor's wife took her life the other day. Neighbor told his kids, Mommy went away. She never got the chance